So, hello. This session is going to be about the heart gate for the Venus moon cycle. So, we are following the ascent of Inanna as Venus as she's come out of the underworld, and she's now at the fourth gate coming out. And having done this a few rounds, what I always feel in these ascending gates is like an integration with universal power. So it almost feels like the wound of separation starts to really heal, and there's this kind of amazing synergy that can arrive. Having said that, I've had quite a difficult week. The one is in my purpose, though, the 26th, and I really hurt my back. I could nearly hardly walk the other day. And it's been quite an emotional time. So these gates can also be quite difficult, and they always fall a few days after the new moon. So they kind of, the new moon begins, and then there's like this Venus moon energy happens that many people are unaware of, actually, unless you start following that. But it's a really potent time, especially in that new moon phase, to for healing and for intentions. So the first thing I'm going to share is just from I'm just going to share the Soul tribe so that we can just look over where we've been so far. Okay, so if you're watching this and you're not on Soul Tribe, when you're a subscriber, you join this tribe. I call this one Venus Moon Wisdom School. And up here is all the information about the gate. So if you ever need to look at them, you can. So the Venus star point we're in is in the 35 gene key, which is called Miracles and Wormholes. And it's the gift of adventure and the city of boundlessness. So it's got this very expansive energy. So the first gate we came up through, so we're coming out of the underworld, was the 59th gene key. And it was also with Mercury stationary as it was going into retrograde. So this cycle we're in is all about intimacy and communication. So learning to communicate better about who we actually are and what's going on inside of us. The second gate in September, this was the sacral chakra gate, and it was in Libra and gene key 18. And this one was conjunct Juno, goddess of the sacred marriage. So here we have an indicator of the balancing of masculine and feminine. And for those on Soul Tribe, we started doing our Kali practice for 40 days, which was a very powerful equalizing of masculine and feminine within. Okay, October was the last one, 15 Scorpio in the solar plexus. And this does gene key 1, line 3, which is the pure yang creative energy. And what I've noticed since that gate is this real kind of calling down a path of myself hermetic music and learning how to use sound to transform consciousness. But just looking around the group, seeing people doing dance, doing art, it feels like what the cycle is often offering us is the potential to really kind of go deeper into the creative process. So it's very interesting now that we're coming into the 26th at the heart gate. because the 26th gift, so it moves from the shadow of pride to the gift of artfulness and the siddhi of invisibility. So I'm going to come out of this, and just to say our next gate will be in Gene Key 30, but we'll go into that in November. But for now, I want to talk about this process. So just talk about Gene Key 26 a bit. So this is a very familiar one to me. It's what's called my purpose in the activation sequence. And when I started working with it, what I realized is that pride stops me doing a lot of things I want to do. And it also makes me do things I don't really want to do. So pride is kind of it's an incredibly powerful shadow. And before I started tuning into it, I wasn't really aware it was there. But every time I had this kind of defensive feeling, or, you know, the need to prove myself, the need to be the best, the feeling inferior to others, superior, I realized that all of these are actually a variation on the shadow of pride, and how Richard Rudd says it's a very sticky one, this pride and vanity are apparently the stickiest shadows and the last that are going to leave us. So I'm always kind of aware of my motivations and things like that, and this issue of pride. So then I think 1 and 26 go very well together, because if 1 is the pure creativity, 26 is the gift of artfulness. So it's taking that source creativity and really individualizing it, and putting your stamp on it and playing with it a bit. And the less pride you have, the more you can play. I would say that is my feeling about artfulness. The more open and experimental you can be, the less worried you are about failure. But then from artfulness to the siddhi of invisibility is a really strange one. Invisibility, like, who wants to be invisible, right? You know? But there's something that's come through this gene key this time, which I've not really got before. And this is about the musician, the artist, the poet, who almost like transcends the individual artist and becomes some kind of universal artist, free from pride, free from fear. So it's almost like this 26 in some ways represents the ultimate dance with the creative source, with the ego and its pride and fear and vulnerabilities, are so kind of subsumed by the creativity that as a person or as an individual, you sort of become invisible. So the one example that came to me of this is in the Ecstatics series that Richard Rudd he did one on this poet called Cold Mountain. So no one knows who Cold Mountain was, but he wrote these poems on rocks in China in this area called Cold Mountain. And he came to me as like a perfect example of what this Venus gate is wanting us, or offering us the potential to rise into artistry beyond pride and fear. Maybe that's kind of how I'm going to name it. And I'd be really interested to hear if anyone else is having this kind of experience as well. Okay, so let's have a look at the chart. Hang on, let's go open the website again. So close that. Okay. present. Okay, so the Venus Moon Heartgate. I don't know who the artist is who did this painting, but I would love to know. I think it's such a good representation. So this over here is Inanna with her owls and her lions, and she's descended into the underworld to meet her sister Ereshkigal, her dark sister. And this is Venus up in the sky. So we have come down in the morning star. Inanna's been through this life, death, rebirth process, and we've come up the steps here. So we're somewhere kind of over there as we come out of the underworld. And I like to just always orientate ourselves. So we're kind of through the life, death, rebirth process, at least in this Venus cycle, and we're rising up into this potential of totality in the universe. Okay, so here is the chart. Okay, so here is the Venus Moon Gate at 21 degrees Sagittarius, 53 minutes is the exact gate. And what we can see here is that Pallas Athena, who is the warrior goddess, is conjunct them. So this has a really powerful energy of rising up. It's a fire sign, Sagittarius, coming out of the underworld. And we also have Mercury there. So there's a real strength in the fire element here. Okay, so another few interesting things I noticed with this. Let me jump over here. So here we have the moon's nodes. The south node is at 4 Libra and the north node is at 4 Aries. And this is how the energy is running through the cosmos in a very direct way through the moon's node. So it's coming from Libra and it's moving to Aries, which is all about self. And what we have is Vesta is the priestess of the hearth, and she is on the south node there. So what this gate offers us is the potential of healing for the priestess archetype historically. So if we think about the 26 gene key as very connected with magic and intention, so having a very pure intention in the use of magic and also creativity is an energy of magic. So when we combine creativity and intention together, then we have this really powerful energy field there. Okay, so what we've been talking about is Venus Moon Gate in the 26 gene key. It's conjunct Pallas Athena there. So there's this real strong fire energy. And here we have Vesta, gene key 18, exactly conjunct the south node. So this is the healing of the priestess energy. Okay, so a few other interesting things. It's good when you do astrology to look at patterns, and what you can notice is that quite a lot of things going on are at 0 degrees or early degrees of their signs. So we've got here Juno is just entering the sign of Scorpio at 0 degrees Scorpio. Mars is just entering Leo there. The nodes are at 4 degrees, so that's very early on in the sign. And there's one other one. Where's it got? Ah, yeah, Mercury is at 3 degrees Sagittarius. So there's this kind of new energy coming in, because whenever bodies are entering signs, they're starting a new cycle in that sign. So Mars is in the 56, which is the gift of enrichment. That goes really well with 26, artfulness. Yeah, and we've also got Juno is conjunct Astraea. So Astraea is the goddess of the new golden age, and I sometimes call her the sacred artist in Gene Key 50, which is all about equilibrium and harmony. So there's this really powerful energy right now where we can connect to the blueprint of harmony behind all things through the marriage of our own soul to our body, through the Hieros Gamos, the inner masculine, feminine, sacred marriage. We can connect to this outer harmony. And interesting here, because we did Scylla last week, the sea monster, and Chiron, who's the wounded healer. Hygeia is a healing goddess, and Scylla is also there, the sea monster, and they're in Gene Key 42, which is all about the gift of detachment. So whatever's going on, can we take a step back from it and not get too emotionally entangled in it? I can't say I've been terribly good at that today, but I'm so glad I'm reading my own words here and remembering that gift. Okay, so I wanted to read this. This is a book I'm reading at the moment by R.J. Stewart, who's a real old esoteric guy. And I've been sort of looking at his stuff for years, really, since my late 20s. And this is called The Spiritual Dimension of Music, this book I'm reading. And I felt very guided to read this book. And this particular bit of it really is the energy that I'm speaking into with this gate. So The Alchemist, from whom our subtitle has been borrowed. So the subtitle is A Musical Looking Glass or Hermetic Speculum. Has been borrowed, were among the last of a long procession of thinkers, experimenters, and philosophers who viewed music in a manner entirely differing from that of today. Whereas modern culture certainly claims music as an art at its best, or as a commercial product in its lowest form, our predecessors used it in a way which is often incomprehensible to the modern mind. It was accepted that music epitomized certain natural laws, not only of physics, but of the metaphysics from which the physics was derived. This belief was not in any way limited to an emotional or creative application of music, but depended on the premise that the physical emission of sound was an outer and audible agency of an inner and transcendent power. And I believe we could apply this to movement, to art, to writing, and all the different art forms we do, to even to being a yogi, to being a healer. Okay, so in this Hermetic interpretation, the artist becomes a vessel for the transformation of consciousness and becoming invisible as an individual creative. So there's quite a lot in this chart, going back to Juno conjunct Astraea in Gene Key 50. This is, I feel, a really amazing opportunity to connect to the harmony of the spheres, this blueprint of harmony behind the craziness in our world. And also this Chiron Hygean Scylla in the 42, like this incredible portal of healing energy that is available right now. Okay, so the exact Venus moon is today, which is the 4th of November, late tonight in the UK. But if you're watching this later on, you know, you can work with this through the whole cycle. The next one is in early December. So Gene Key is 26 is very magical. So use your clear intention and heartfelt wish to create something beautiful for yourself and others, putting your service first. And remembering that Vesta South Node conjunction, we have this really powerful opportunity to do that at the moment. So read and listen to Gene Key 26 and contemplate for the next month the shadow of pride, the gift of artfulness, and the city of invisibility. And contemplate creativity as both highly individual, but also devotional in its highest expressions. And if you have never listened to the Ecstatic series, they're all just like mind-blowing. And Cold Mountain is there. So if you Google the Ecstatics, Cold Mountain, Richard Rudd, that will pop up. And then to let you know that our sharing circle is on the 10th of November at 5 p.m. So please come along to that. So thank you very much for watching this. You can take part in this much more actively by becoming a subscriber to Soul Tribe Online. There's a concessionary price of $39 a month, or $55 is the normal price. And you get access to me and loads of incredible daily meditation, yoga that will really, take you to the next level in all kinds of very practical and tangible ways. So thank you for watching this. Thank you for following my work. And Satnam, huge love. Thank you. Bye.